Hi, Capricorn. Welcome to your October 2016 general tarot reading. And I have been soliciting opinions from viewers about whether they care about having two separate types of readings, the general and love readings. My inclination is just to have these types of readings and see what the majority of the cards suggest in terms of the message. But I've gotten a lot of people that would rather have separate love readings. I think I'll probably end up doing that for the time being. I have a few misgivings because I want to just kind of go with whatever happens and not have to just tailor it to one topic or another. But you know, that happens all the time. You know, there are career readings that use the tarot as well, and just focus on that. But I don't even want to just limit it to career and then have love. I want to have more possibilities. And sometimes I end up doing like practically two love readings, because a lot of the cards seem to come out that way when I do a general reading like this. So this month has been an experimentation of is there a word, experimentation? Yeah, that's a word, right? I'm experimenting with this format and seeing if the general readings tend to point to one theme over another. Some have, some haven't. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this. And okay. So, the theme that, as I was picking these cards, I was thinking in terms of career and business. And I didn't even get to this card yet. And the reason was probably because of the recent past with the Knight of Pentacles. Now, for some reason, and this isn't the first sign that I've gotten this about, some of you Capricorns may be trying to go into business with people that you know, like either, maybe it could be family, but I think it's more along the lines of friends, maybe one friend or a group of friends. For the overall theme, though, I get the Hangman. So you may be, I get the Hangman, and then for the higher message, I get the Four of Swords. So it seems like you're in limbo in a certain sense. But hopefully, if you're trying to get something going and you're, having snafus and you're watching in September, don't forget that there is a Mercury retrograde going on. Now, this is supposed to be for October, but it can be something that carries itself into October, because you may have heard about the shadow period. There's a period before and after Mercury or any planet goes retrograde and then turns direct. And it's kind of like it has to do with the degree that it's in when it goes retrograde. And it has to go back to that degree before it can be clear of its shadow. So I believe that's around the 7th of October. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's after that first week in October that things should just be right up to speed and progressing nicely. And October is actually a very good green light month from everything I have seen online from other astrologers, because of all of these planets that have been going in and out of retrograde. We've been having a lot of stuff. We had Saturn, we had Mars, now we're having Mercury. And, we actually began the year with a Mercury retrograde right after the beginning of the year. So we've been just kind of starting and stopping. And I think, some people may have had it kind of rough this year and they might have felt kind of aggravated. I think for me or myself, it was more aggravation than anything else. But I do feel at the beginning of the year particularly that things really had ground to a halt. And so now I am glad that it appears that in October we have much more momentum. And so if you are doing something entrepreneurial-esque and you're trying to launch and you're listening in September, obviously you have to use your own intuition, but I think that the best time will be after the first week of October. And that will be when you will find more. There's going to be a new moon also. There's going to be a new moon in Scorpio at the end of the month, and that's very favorable to you because Scorpio is a sextile angle with Capricorn. And so it's going to be much more friendly and flowing to you than, a square or an opposition. And actually, that full moon, well, is it a full moon or a new moon? No, it's actually a new moon. A new moon in Scorpio. That will actually be in the 11th house of hopes and wishes. So you may see, now of course this is on the 30th of October, so this is almost into November, but you may see that something that you have wanted to happen, whether it's a whole new way of life or just a particular thing that you wanted to accomplish or something you wanted to have materially, maybe you'll get that thing. Maybe your dreams will come true in that sense. But, when I look at this particular reading, it seems like you're being forced from the outside to just chill momentarily. And so I just am giving you this heads up because you may feel a sense of frustration or even confusion about it. So as I say, the Hangman is dealing with any issue that you have to kind of go hands off on. Maybe you've been trying to make something happen and you're trying so hard that it ends up not happening. And if you think about the law of attraction, there is this thing called resistance. And resistance happens when people are throwing the kitchen sink at whatever it is that they want to have happen. And this can happen even in relationships. If these cards are dealing with a particular relationship that you want really badly and you try too hard, what tends to happen? There tends to be this kind of resistance. Sometimes it's from the other person, him or herself, where they're like, whoa, this person is a little bit too intense, or they're a little bit too controlling. They really are desperate. Whatever is going on in their head about the way you're acting may cause them to think twice about you and question your motives, your true motives, because they might think that this is all like you want another conquest or something like that, or you want to control them. When you come on too strong, people tend to react in an opposite way than what you want. Now, I'm not saying that that's how you usually operate, but I'm just giving an example of that. The same thing applies to any kind of job. Even if you're a salesperson who gets commissions. I remember I was walking into a store one time, and I think it was like a bike shop, because I ride a bike. That's my car, is a bicycle. I don't drive. And so I had to go in there for something, or I just wanted to browse. I don't think I had anything in mind. And as soon as I walked in the door, the salesman just sprung into action and came right up to me and started really giving me a hard sell. And I just like said, oh, excuse me, and I walked out. I can't stand that. And so, you know, when you try to impose your will on another person or on the universe, it tends to, you know, there tends to be like a brick wall that comes down. So I feel like this is a month where you're going to have to really just let go and let God and allow everything to kind of work out behind the scenes. You know, and bringing up the law of attraction again, one of the things they say is, it's none of my business how it turns out, how it works, how the thing happens. It's just about, I'm going to let the universe do its thing, and I'm going to step back. I'm going to take my hands off of it. But it's none of my business. I don't have to sit here and question how everything is going to just suddenly be aligned. All I have to do is like let it do its thing. It's like letting your body heal itself. It's letting, you know, your life situation heal itself. And realizing that there is this infinite intelligence that permeates everything. And with our puny little intellects, we always try to scheme and come up with solutions. And sometimes this is exactly what we need to do. We need to just take our hands off of it. And, you know, by the way, this can also apply to any problem you're having with another person. You know, a perfect example is somebody who is troubled, whether it be a child or a spouse. And, you know, if you're dealing with addiction, somebody who has an addiction, for instance, because this card is a card of addiction. When you're dealing with other people who have addictions, the idea of codependency exists because people are trying to control the addict's behavior so that they won't drink or they won't use. Okay, and really what they advise is this, is that you have to let go and let them do what they're going to do, and in the meantime nourish yourself and not get caught up in their madness and their compulsion. And it is hard. It's easier said than done, that's for sure. But I feel like in this particular case, this could be something that you have tried to launch. You're trying to launch a business. We have the Ace of Pentacles here, and you're just like chomping at the bit. You want to do it, but the timing may be a bit off. And I think like this is kind of clarification card. At first I thought this was another person that is kind of dragging their feet, even though this person's a very hard worker. I think this is you, actually. It's funny, you know, when you have, it's like funny, I have these cards so close up because of the angle that I'm doing these readings with. But the Knight of Pentacles is actually a card that I personally associate with Capricorn, because I can just feel what that card represents as totally being Capricorn. And then I read somewhere somebody connecting it to Taurus, because the fact that it's a Pentacles means that it's going to be of the earth element and all the things thereof, including careers, money. And this is a person called, you know, the only knight that is predictable and in control. This knight is somebody who is very focused on making money and amassing his wealth. And so they're very hardworking as well as dependable. And they associated this with Taurus. I associate it with Capricorn because I feel like there's also this ambition that is guiding the person. It's not just, I don't feel like it's the sense of, you know, gross materialism that is kind of motivating the person. I feel like the person has a mission. And, you know, you think about knights and they tend to be zealots, or they have like, you know, this grandiose notion of whatever it is that they're doing. Well, in this case, it has to do with financial security. So I really do connect it. And I was reading a book on how you read the tarot, and they were saying you really need to go with your own interpretation. So that's why I wanted to mention that, since you're the one I'm reading for. The current energy is the Three of Cups. Now, what's interesting about this is I think you're taking my advice telepathically before you're even watching this. Or maybe this is to talk about how you should be right now. Maybe you're not doing that yet. The contrast between the Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Cups is quite glaring. The Three of Cups is about socializing, having fun, letting your hair down, and things of that nature. Maybe you did exactly as I said, and it was just kind of instinctual. Maybe you were trying too hard, as evidenced by the Knight of Pentacles. You were really working hard, burning the candle at both ends, trying to do it, and you received nothing, and so you just kind of put it on hold, or at least are making more time for yourself so that you're not imbalanced. But the higher message is even more of a kind of affirmation that you need to relax. And this is a card of definitely recharging your batteries. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to just completely quit whatever you're doing, because chances are that's not going to happen, especially if you are trying to launch something. But it just means that maybe you risk burnout if you do not rest. Maybe you need to go to bed earlier. Maybe you need to stop socializing. See, this is a card too of, I think, of partying. I mean, literally there's cups there, so there could be people drinking, and maybe they're drinking too much, and maybe they've gone from one extreme to the other. They're trying to work very hard at something, and it's not paying off yet, and so they're just saying, okay, well, screw this. I'm going to just try to have a good time. And in the meantime, they need to replenish themselves so that they can launch when it's appropriate, or when I just got the feeling as soon as I did this reading that you might be waiting on somebody else, like a partner. Maybe they're busy doing something else right now and they can't be with you, so you have to wait for them to get back. And while you're twiddling your thumbs, you're kind of socializing more than you typically do, and you need to relax. The card that crosses you is the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles person could be a female. It's funny, I have to read up more on the Nine of Pentacles because I have seen it in the Rider-Waite deck, and I think it's also connected to a woman. Oh, it probably has to do with the fact, I think 9 is a feminine number because it's a solitary number, so it's like going within, it's the passive. And then you have the Pentacles, the earth element is feminine too. So that might be why a woman is depicted in this. It could literally be somebody who is demanding, this could be somebody who is demanding that you give them money. And I'm thinking specifically of a former partner, maybe a former wife. If you are a woman listening to this, this could be, it's always possible that this is not a woman, but the characteristics, the behavior is like, I think it would be considered very materialistic and money grubbing, whoever this influence is. Now, it's funny because I have to keep reminding myself of who I'm reading for. I'm reading for Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. I have said this in the past, and I will say it again. I feel that Capricorn and Taurus, more than probably any of the other signs, has the potential to have a pitfall when it comes to their relationships. in that, and I'm talking about romantic relationships, in that they may adopt a pay for play mentality. And this is where they believe, and they believe so quite seriously, that relationships cost money, just like your rent costs money, or your mortgage, or your dinners at restaurants. And if you're in a relationship, it only makes sense that you're going to have to shell out a certain amount of money. And they may be very pragmatic about this, and they may not think anything twice about it. And that might be the one area where you do not exhibit your customary sense of thriftiness, where you kind of go overboard. You might, and this kind of mentality can render you vulnerable to be taken for a ride financially by another person, because another type of sign might balk if somebody said, I want a diamond bracelet, and if you don't give it to me, I'm going to break up with you. And somebody else goes, okay, see you later. But you might be thinking, well, yeah, I gotta, bite the bullet and do that. I mean, in other words, that it wouldn't automatically be seen as somebody trying to use you for your money. And sometimes this can be a little bit subtle and therefore hard to spot. But sometimes it's right in your face, and you may just feel like that's just how the world works. And there's almost like a cynicism in that belief, because it's like saying that, even love is up to the highest bidder. So I think that there could be a person like this in your life. Now, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. You may be one of those people that is very kind of serious, the typical Capricorn on the outside, but you're a very soft touch. And so I have a feeling, because this is a general reading, that this may not, resonate with everybody, but if it does, you'll probably know who that person is. And so you have to be careful, because they may sniff your money if you, for some reason, for instance, the attitude that you need to adapt is represented by the Ace of Pentacles. You see that there's a portal here. There's a door, an opening for you. Sometimes the opening comes from actually receiving money so that you can start a new life. When I say new life, I really mean like a new business. And so maybe, maybe you've been waiting on a loan, a business loan, and it comes through, and now you can do what you've been dreaming of doing. And maybe it'll come through at the end of the month when you have that new moon in the 11th house. But whatever happens, there may be people around you who, let's say you just tell everybody because you're so excited, and they're like, looks like this person has a lot of money now, and this is a great time to ask them for some money. So just be careful of that. But I think as an attitude card, it's suggesting that you view, if you do get money, and this could be a money from an unexpected source. The clouds indicate that it could just drop from the sky, pretty much, or, talking about like divine grace. And you get this money out of nowhere. But whatever happens, if it's just as simple as being a loan that you were hoping to get, you may still be acting too conservative about it, and you may still be worried, and maybe you're still going to not launch because you're trying to wait for all your ducks to be in a row. The Ace of Pentacles is suggesting that you view this situation as a green light to do what you need to do. The advice is represented by the Devil card, and I think, and this is actually your card, believe it or not. So if you want to own this thing, it's weird too, because it's like, I don't think of Capricorn as the devil in terms of, what it means. The devil refers to addictions, addictive behaviors, and it doesn't have to be just like food and drink or any other kind of like mind-altering substance. It could be sex, it could be money. I think it has to do with money, because I think that since Capricorn is the last earth sign in the zodiac, you guys, it's almost like you need to pass a test where you're using your resources at the highest level. And unfortunately, you have Capricorns who get too caught up in the power of, having a lofty position, or it's not the power so much as the prestige. And, there's always that kind of a drive to, be in the elite and be seen as the successful in life. And I think of Richard Nixon, U.S. president during the 1970s, late 60s, early 70s, who was a Capricorn. And, he got ensnared in a scandal because he wanted to keep his position of power. And this is something that Capricorn has to kind of balance out, is the need, because you do rule the 10th house of career, and that's on the top of the astrological chart. So it makes sense that in your mind, that is the goal of life, is to rise in society and be more than what you are. However, I feel that is an inside job, and it's an inside type of ascension, not an outer one with outer trappings. And I have also made the observation in the past that a fair number of gurus, I'm talking specifically from India, seem to have been born under the sign of Capricorn. So that shows the highest level to me of, being renowned. Being a renowned leader, like Martin Luther King in America, he was a Capricorn. And it doesn't have to be just a spiritual leader, but, Martin Luther King was a spiritual leader. So whatever is happening with you, I feel that you need to kind of counter it with understanding exactly what the end game is. Are you trying to, get rich, or are you just trying to be prosperous? There's a difference. Are you trying to, go towards abundance, or, wealth in the sense of what I mean is like a form of power. And if you do want to be wealthy, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it doesn't become a compulsion where it becomes the overweening ambition of your life, when money is a means to an end. It's not the end itself. And even power as well. If you get in a position of authority, it gives you more of an influence, and you can use that for good. If you just use it for self-glorification, then what purpose does it really serve? Now, the outcome is the 9 of Wands. And so I got I got this 9. And 9 is kind of a solitary number, like the Hermit in the Major Arcana. So this is about you really kind of standing guard. I feel like you're standing guard over your own domain. And I'm talking about your inner domain. And so that nobody gets into your head. There may be a person who's trying to get into your head and weasel their way into your life. Again, if you're watching in September, this could be tied to the Mercury retrograde. Hearing from people from the past who are, isn't it funny how when you have something good happen in your life, people sometimes start calling you. Your phone starts ringing off the hook, And this is why when people win the lottery, sometimes they don't tell anybody they know, because they don't want to start having people come out of the woodwork to, their long-lost relatives. And I feel like you have to have a self-protective measure, because maybe it could have to do with the personal relationship, that's sure. Because this could be somebody that you feel, maybe it's on the sexual level, that you feel drawn to. It could be a fire sign, I guess. If this person is, it could be, I do think it could definitely be another earth sign. So it could be a Taurus or a Capricorn like you, or a Virgo individual. But sometimes this could be just describing their behavior, and that it's actually a fire sign, which would be an Aries. It seems like that's the usual suspect, Aries with Capricorn. But, a Leo or a Sagittarius. So what does that mean as a final reading? Well, let me just pick one last card for the heck of it. Okay, Page of Cups. I associate this with Pisces, but it could be anybody of water element. So Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. Maybe that's a person that you're wary of. But I feel that the Page of Cups could be you in terms of your own, attitude right now. Maybe you are a little bit naive about something that is happening. And this is one of the things. It's like, it's telling you, you better do this because you're acting naive about it. And again, I think that it can be, I don't think it's necessarily you in a working for somebody else. I think if it is a work situation, it's your own launch. And maybe there are people that, for whatever reason, know about this and they want to capitalize on it. Or maybe even somebody that you want to work for you is not necessarily a team player. Maybe they're in it for themselves. But I think, because I did draw the Devil card, I do think that this could be a compulsive relationship that you have that maybe just you can't shake. And maybe it's just here and there, intermittent. And sometimes, you just weaken and you call the person and you just go back right into that spiral or that cycle. And it doesn't seem to ever get resolved. So watch out for a tendency to just see what you want to see. And to really, look at October as a time to let go of things that no longer serve you. And if you're watching in September, try to do it then, because October in numerology is a 1 month. And so, the 10 reduces to a 1. So it's a great time for a launch, especially with those astrological things happening that support a launch. So anyway, Capricorn, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, you can just click on my website link below this video. Otherwise, have a great October. Bye.